Hey everyone, it's your girl Michael. I just want to come on and give you a tidbit about what this episode, actually the series, is going to be about. We are starting a series called The Foundation. And in this first part of the series, we are talking about love. And we're going to be digging deep because we're going to be getting into all that love is.
Love,
Dictionary,
love,
y'all.
love,
Dictionary. Your
love,
girl's
love,
breaking it out.
love.
And we're going to be talking about what it is in terms of noun form, verb form, and agape love. Agape, y'all. So listen up.
Right.
Get out your notes if you need to because this is going to be good.
Let's dive in.
You feel like a vacation. You feel like everything I've been wanting and waiting for. And every day I'm wanting more. Even though we had a minor slip-ups, we're never, ever giving up. Got the modern Gina kind of love. Real shit that comes from above. And my friends ask me how I know that you are the one. I know you're the one. I know you're the one.
What's up, everyone? I'm Michael.
And I'm Javon.
And together we are the
Branches.
After going through an extremely difficult time in our marriage, well, difficult is an understatement,
Facts, this is true.
to now experience a renewed, restored, and rebuilt marriage by the grace of God, we want to share with others the lessons we've learned along the way.
The life experiences that shook us to our core ultimately brought us closer because we chose to surrender and put God first.
Join us as we get real and raw talking about relationships and sharing our greatest lesson, that when you show up in faith, God will show out. If you're ready to jump on this healing journey with us, buckle up.
Let's go.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back.
Yo. What's good, everybody?
So today we start our series called The Foundation. And it's foundations in relationships, like the key foundation pieces that we feel need to be in relationships, marriage, partnerships, or otherwise.
That's right.
That make the relationships thrive.
Right.
And this obviously comes from our experience.
True that.
So it is our opinion, but we think we have, I think we have some good ideas here because we have rebuilt
I think we do.
our marriage from complete brokenness to where it is now, which is thriving. And of course,
Brokenness, I would say also honesty, commitment,
totally.
friendship, you name it, I can go on.
There you go.
On and on. But
all with the help of our Heavenly Father.
Yes,
but
sir.
we definitely have a little something to say
Yep.
on all of this. Okay? So let's dive right in. And so let me just give you a little bit of background on the word love. Because I think people throw that word around so easily
Loosely.
and
They do.
gingerly and loosely.
They do.
Not really understanding what love really is. I think sometimes love gets misconstrued with the word lust. And there is definitely a difference.
I think that, but I also think that it's just thrown out there just because some people feel like, hey, well, if this person say they love me, I might as well say it back to them, even though I may not feel like
that
it.
is very true. The obligation to
Right.
say that you love someone in a relationship. But we're gonna for right now, we are going to, or I should say me, I'm
Right.
going to break down this word because if you know me, you know that I like to have the background story of some things.
She does.
Okay?
She's going to break it down so it can forever be broke.
Be known. All right? So what is love? So we both believe that there is love and then there is unconditional love.
True.
That's the first thing. And for you to have a good, strong, firm, solid foundation and relationship, you need to have both. But to really understand why, that's why I'm going to break this down. So what is love? Now, y'all, I'm going to the dictionary. Okay? I'm going to the dictionary.
Nothing wrong
Love.
with that, babe. Nothing wrong with that.
The noun form, it says attraction based on sexual desire, affection, and tenderness felt by lovers. Example, after all these years, they are still very much in love.
Now, you notice, even though they breaking that down, they say, there's attraction based on sexual desire. And then they say affection and tenderness felt by lovers. But
Right.
You notice the only example that they actually give you is after all these years, they are still very much in love.
Right.
It really, it's somewhat related to probably the second part of that, affection and tenderness felt by lovers. It doesn't really go into the attraction based on sexual. So that should be a ding, 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 ding. It's not, that's not even something that's
right.
It's irrelevant to a point, but
Right.
it's very, 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 very small.
But it's a very small part of it. Yeah,
Right.
I was going to say, because honestly, that attraction based on sexual desire, the sexual desire is lust, but we ain't going to stay on that.
Right.
But it's based on lust, and that can change.
Right. That's true.
That can change
That's
real
true.
quick.
That's true.
So, and we'll come back to that most likely in here, but that sexual desire for someone can change in an instant.
Right.
Okay. All right. Verb. To hold dear, cherish, to feel a lover's passion, devotion, or tenderness, to like or desire actively, to take pleasure in, to thrive in. Example, the rose loves sunlight. Now, let me break this down, okay?
Break it down.
In this verb definition, do you notice how it's completely different from the noun? Noun, we're talking about sexual desire.
Yeah.
That can change in an instant. Verb, we're talking about to hold dear, to cherish, to feel
Actions.
a lover's passion,
All actions.
devotion, and tenderness, to like or desire actively.
Right.
Okay? To take pleasure in,
Right.
to thrive in. And even the example, the rose loves sunlight. What happens if flowers don't have sunlight?
They're not going to grow.
They die.
Right. They die.
So this verb definition of love is what really and truthfully should be in a relationship. This is the long-standing love to me that you can actually say the whole example of the first definition.
Right.
After all these years, they are still very much in love. They won't be still very much in love if they don't have all of these verb definitions. Okay? So, my point to say,
You really feel like that? They
well,
they
look
can't.
at the noun. Look at the noun.
Yeah, I guess
Sexual
you're right.
desire, affection, tenderness felt by
Yeah.
lovers. Okay, that's very vague and very, surface level. Verb,
That's
to
true.
hold dear, to cherish. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, you're right.
So to me, and we say this all the time, babe,
What's that?
love is an action word.
Oh, heck
Therefore,
yeah.
it is a verb. Verb gives action. You have to do.
Right.
You have to do.
You
So
can't
let's-
just talk about it.
Right.
You have to be about it.
Exactly.
You can't walk the walk without
Talking the talk.
That's
You got,
just
you know-
what it is. I mean, or better yet, you can't talk the talk
Without walking the
without
walk. There you
walking the
go.
walk.
Let's
Let me
change that
reverse
up.
that because that sounds a whole lot better.
That's so true. And so the verb kind of love is what you really need to have in any relationship to be actively maintaining and sustaining and even growing, i.e. the rose loves the sunlight because
Right.
roses, flowers grow in sunlight.
Right.
You have to have that verb kind of love. Now, what is unconditional love? Let me break that down.
Hold on. Let me break that down.
Okay, go ahead.
Unconditional love, simply put, is love without strings attached. It's love you offer freely.
Yes.
You don't base it on what someone does for you in return.
Well-
You simply love them and want nothing more than their happiness. Get that? You simply love them and want nothing more than their happiness.
Yes.
This type of love, sometimes called compassionate or
Agape.
love, might sound somewhat familiar. I
Yes.
mean, I know it does. So,
Yes.
agape love.
So agape, you said
What-
agape.
Yeah. What is? You want to know what that is?
So let me let you guys know what that is.
Go ahead. Let us know. what that is.
Agape love is also called Christ-like love. Agape, Greek agape, in the New Testament, the fatherly love of God for all humans, as well as the human reciprocal love for God. In Scripture, the transcendent agape love is the highest form of love and is contrasted with eros, or erotic love, and philia, or brotherly love.
Right.
So, again, unconditional love, you can stack that right on top of the verb
True.
love. And then agape love, you stack that on top of the unconditional love.
Right.
So, truthfully, I really feel like, all of them work together and they all must be had in your mainstay relationship. So, like your husband and wife, partner, spouse
Right.
relationships, even your really close friend relationships.
True.
Like something that you said with regards to the unconditional love is that part where you say you simply love them and want nothing more than their happiness.
That's
so
right.
to
So-
me, that sticks out because even for
does.
friends, you want to be able to make sure that your friendship always is going on the up and up and you're always looking out for that person and not bringing any bad to them.
Making sure that when they need you, you help build them up and vice versa. Being there as a support system.
Exactly.
But, again, not feeling like, hey, you did this for me, so because you did this for me, I got to do
Oh my
that
gosh,
for
I
you.
cannot stand that.
We don't need all that.
That tit for tat.
Yeah,
Tit for
it has
tat.
to be free.
Score taken.
It has to be unconditional love. In other words, unconsciously thinking.
Right.
Because if you're consciously thinking about it, then you're basically breaking it down and trying to decide. Don't decide what you need to break down far as your love. Just feel it.
Right.
Because
And
what
be
you
true
feel,
with it.
be
Right.
truthful with yourself.
Right.
Because if you're not truthful with yourself, sorry, let me slow down. If you're not truthful with yourself, then you're not going to be able to project that energy and that real love that's deep down inside.
Right.
And be vulnerable to let it out. You got to let it out.
Vulnerability.
Like, say what you feel. Sometimes expressing some things, some people are not good at expressing how they
This
feel.
is true.
As far as their love. Sometimes it takes them through the form of action, and it doesn't have to be big or small. You determine what it is. It's the small things that count. It's
Okay, wait, you're getting too far, bro.
yeah,
You're
my
getting
bad,
too
my
far.
bad. My wife know how I can
Rein
get
it
sometimes.
in.
All right, I'm bringing it in.
We're gonna
I'm bringing it
get
in.
back to that.
I'm
You're
ready.
going way
I'm
far.
ready to go. I'm
You
just
are
ready to let
getting
them
it.
know. All right.
So bring it in. All right, so all of what you said is going to be coming up in what we're about to talk about.
True that.
And in marriage and relationships, we've already established that it's an action. It's a do word for the word love is an action word and you must do. Or you run the risk of things becoming stagnant, which is why a lot of people then stray and look outside of their relationship for fulfillment.
Yeah, they do.
Okay?
They do.
So I'm going to put you on the spot.
And let's just put it this way. There's a lot of things that can happen for that to become stagnant. Because it just,
Of course.
and
it's over time
right,
usually.
Right.
Yeah, it's over
it
time.
It could be a
of
number
their
of things. We ain't
tank
just saying
not being filled.
we're
Right.
not just particularly talking about people just, hey, look, let me just go out here and
Oh
cheat.
no, not at all. I don't
Anything
think no.
could be going on. It could be something that triggers them at work that's not right. It
And
could
it's
be
not
bad,
just even
and it's not
cheating.
even cheating.
It
Exactly.
could be
'Cause
other
there's-
things.
Yeah, because there's so many things within a relationship
Right.
that can make it or break it. It
Right.
doesn't necessarily have to be cheating. That's just
One
the
of the
biggest thing that's
vices.
put out there for people to know,
Right.
because that people think about. Because when you think
Very
about
true.
it, there's cheating, there's money.
Yes, that's another huge one. Finances.
There's the communication. There's just so many things that go into it. But again, I don't want to ramble and get off what I need to.
So no, I'm gonna let you talk right here and now. I'm gonna ask you something. So putting you on the spot.
Uh-oh.
So from your healed and renewed man's perspective and a relationship, okay? Mm-hmm. What do you feel are things that are really important that you do to show and express love?
Me personally, it's always free. It's never thought of as far as my love towards you, or just
Yeah.
in general.
Right,
Well,
in our
my love towards
relationship.
you is just genuine anyway, because again, when we first met, it was a genuine friendship. And I loved you for a friend and wanted you to be okay as a friend, not in a relationship. And over the years, it has grown, it has built. And so now, even going through everything that we went through, me being a cheater, and yes, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to continue to say it, because I am so far removed from the person I used to be and so free now that I'm very comfortable at saying that, yes, I was a cheater.
I was y'all.
Past tense, was a cheater. Not a cheater now, cheater then.
Right.
But what I'm noticing now with me is I was always very very much attention to detail as far as making sure that I express my love, because I wanted to do nothing but have someone love me and receive love, because I really truly didn't understand what that was like until I met you.
Right.
But once I met you and met your family, which is now my family, your side anyway, I realized how much joy there could be in love. Far as a family, far as friendship, just in a group, or even not even in a group, just one-on-one single. But
so you express your love how? Like, how has it changed from
for me
the beginning
to now? From beginning to now, I would say that there's really not, the only change there is that it actually has grown more.
Okay.
And I say that not to say that, heck, my love wasn't crazy as hell for you in the beginning, because it was. Everyone who knew me knew it was.
Totally.
That jump was pow, pow, bam. Yeah, I don't even want to do all these other sound stuff, but anyway,
Not the
it was off the chain.
Yeah.
And now it's 10 times multiplied to whatever it was before, because it wasn't thoughts before who I was in the beginning. I wanted to make sure that everything that I did to get you was genuine love. Again, it was new, it was fresh. Now, after having to put in the work of the years and going through the ups and downs, I know how much I love you, because I see how I express it in everything I do. Coming home, washing clothes, helping to fold up the clothes, even though I ain't the best folding in clothes person in the world.
Refold them.
She will. Taking out the trash. If I'm going to the store, I don't just think about myself. I think about you and our little one. And I'll call you and say, hey, babe, boom. I don't care if it's midnight, whatever the case it is, babe. Yo, you need anything? Wake you fresh up out of your sleep. Do you need anything from the store? What do you need? What is it that we're missing that I can get while I'm out, because I'm here? Even down to
cleaning the stove
or sweeping the floor. Just it's not nothing like, I'm not going out of my way to go extravaganza to buy all these gifts and stuff, because it's not about that,
Not for me. It's
with
not.
Our love,
because
I know who you are. I don't need to go out here and do that.
Right there, guys. We're gonna come back to.
I know you.
Yes.
I know you inside, outside. Like the back of my hand, the front of my hand, the bottom of my feet, the back of my tail, that I don't see like that. I mean, I know you, and I gotta say, like, I know my wife like that. So I know what makes you tick. Not to mention something else that we will get into later. I know your love language. I've been knowing your love language for the longest time, and my wife
don't go into it, because we're about to get there. I gotta explain this.
Okay.
We can't just jump.
You're right.
Bruh, we can't just
look,
jump
this
forward.
is what I'm supposed to do. I'm gonna let you go ahead and be very reserved. I ain't holding back a thing.
I know you're not.
But I know your love language, and the fact that I know
though.
your love language, and it's okay. Not saying that you need to know that person's love language, because sometimes you just don't understand it.
Helps tremendously, though.
But if you really, really, really want to know, it's very good to investigate and go into understanding what the love languages are. But we'll get back into that. But that's a very important part of it. But like I said, just the little things, making up the bed every morning, getting out the bed, making up the bed, making sure that, hey, babe, look, you lay in on a weekend or something like that, and I get up and get our child and get it ready and this and that, things like that. Or knowing that you got important meetings, and I don't hesitate. I could have just got in late from work and maybe only had because I'm a night owl, a couple hours of sleep. Get up without complaining, and do what I need to do to help you out, so you can get through your meetings, and I can watch our child in that moment that you can. So it's not
It's
nothing
not all the flashy
significant.
things.
Yeah,
it's not all the flashy
not.
things all the time. It's
It's
not,
not.
always buying roses and flowers and candy and stuff like that.
No, I mean
I
that's
think
that's
cool, part
cool,
of it
but
here and there.
That's not. That's like, to
That's
be
so
honest.
that's so bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying, it's true. Chivalry is dead.
Yeah.
I mean, and if I'm saying that right, because I
You
could
d-
be
you
pronouncing
said
that
it
wrong.
perfectly.
But,
You said it perfectly.
it's true. Holding doors. Doing things, the small
Mm-hmm.
things, and now I used to be that type of guy that holds the doors and stuff and I'm still like that. I'm just different with it.
Well,
But,
and our dynamic has changed
Yeah.
because we have a little one. So
That's true.
But you still do make sure we get in the car first,
right,
and
I do.
all of that. So
I do. I make sure
it's
y'all
just a little
safe. I
bit
make sure the
different.
doors are
Yeah.
locked. Very protective.
But you've done a great job of, the onset type of expression of love when you first start a
Mm-hmm.
relationship, where it is a lot of the, flowers and teddy bears and chocolates and
Right.
food and things like
Right.
that. To grow that and extend that into things that really, really do matter, like helping out, doing things that you know that I haven't been able to get to, and you do them, or
Right.
waking me up and saying, "Hey, do you need something from the store?" Knowing I had said I forgot something on the list,
Right.
and just taking that time in your little, in your day, and taking the space in your mind to remember those things where you clearly could have just been like, whatever, what I mean?
But see, for me, it's not even about remembering them, because when you love someone, again, it's just, you don't do things based on, hey, I need to do this for them.
Right.
You kind of do, but you don't. It could, because again, it's a thought, an unconditional thought. You just
Unconscious
thought.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Unconscious thought. So you don't think about the things you do. You just know that these are things that you just do them.
Right. That's
just
so true.
become second nature.
That's
so
true.
you're basically in sync with your partner. You know
Exactly.
what makes them tick.
Exactly.
You know what makes them come to a halt. You makes them know what makes
what
them,
makes them
what they
move.
have to question you or move. Yeah. So you just know, even down to just other little things I might do. I might get up and just clean the bathroom out and without being asked. And as a male. I don't want my wife going behind me cleaning up, especially when I gotta go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And as men, sometimes
Y'all can be ratchet. Let's just say that with
we
that.
Lord,
Lord.
we all over the bathroom because we have
You're so
we've had
nasty.
both, and sometimes you might have to sit down, but if you
Oh my gosh.
that way you ain't got to be everywhere. I mean, sometimes that's what I have to hear from my wife, like, babe, what the heck, bro, like,
Right.
But also know too, I'm the type of guy, and when I'm in that bathroom, I don't care if I'm asleep, middle of the night, whatever. I will make sure that I wipe down everything because I know that my wife has to. Right, my wife has to come behind me, and I don't want her coming behind me, sitting in my mess because I can't aim right. So,
Oh my! Did we really take it there?
yeah, I had to take it there, and
Lord
I'm
have
not.
mercy, y'all.
I'm just saying that's just things. That's just what it is. You wanted to know the things I do, but. You notice that I do that. You
totally
notice
noticed
that
it.
I clean that up and I go behind
totally
it.
noticed it.
That's just that, and that's just what I'm talking about. I
Yeah.
know that's a little bit ratchet, if you will say it, to a point. But it's the small things,
And it really, those things aren't really small when you talk about all that.
It's things you should be doing anyway.
Well, but
to each
all
his
that a
own.
woman has on her plate
Right.
to do, it really isn't small.
Right.
It sounds like it, but it's really not.
No.
So moving into the love languages, since you did mention that, and I want to go ahead and get into that. So there's a book out, and it's called The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. And we actually read it a long time ago, and it has like a little quiz in there. Actually, it's kind of a long quiz, but it's got a quiz in there. It's got a quiz in there.
Did we do the quiz together?
We did. We did it together, but separately.
Right.
So,
right.
and you take the little quiz, and it shows you what your love language is. And we actually were tied on our top love language, different things, but we still had 2 that came out the same score.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually took it again, like once we went through all of what we went through, to see
Right.
if I still was the
same
same
way.
as I was, years and years back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important, and we touched on this. You don't have to know your own or your partner's love language, but it's very important that if you for you to sort of kind of know. And I say this because
I think it'll give you a deeper involvement, but I think it'll also open your mind to understand who they are
That is
as
correct.
a person.
And you want to be able to speak their language.
Right.
So almost like, if you have someone who's speaking Spanish and I'm speaking English, if they're speaking Spanish and I don't know Spanish, I don't know what the heck they're talking about.
Right.
And vice versa.
Right.
Same thing with the love language. If someone is one and you're showing them love the way you receive love,
Interpret it, right. That may not be the way that they need to actually.
Right. They're not receiving it that way because that's not how their love language is. So here are the 5 love languages: words of affirmation, quality time,
Right, important.
physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts. So I can tell you right now, an example for me, like receiving gifts is not my love language.
Nope.
So, and that's something that, and I think why that is because, when I was a little girl, my dad's love language was gifts, gift giving.
Right.
And he would always give gifts rather than be around.
Right.
So for me, I think I've even taken that to a whole nother level when you talk about healing wounds and things like that, because whenever I receive gifts, it really is not that big of a deal to me. And the person that is giving the gift, usually that person either is their love language, or they think it should be my love language, and
Right.
I should be so excited that I received this gift.
Right.
And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, thank you.
Right. Right.
But it's really doesn't mean very much.
Yeah.
Which is why I say it's very important and it's very good if you do know your partner's love language, because
True.
then what you're giving them, they're receiving
It's
it
what they need to
100%.
really receive.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So let me see if you remember what my love language is, since you just said it a couple of minutes ago. What's my love language? I have 2 top love languages. What are they?
Quality time and words of affirmation.
Oh my, yes,
come on now.
you
Like,
still know.
Of course I know that.
Totally.
That goes without, like, I know, even though I didn't understand that in the beginning, these were things that I was doing.
And I
when-
kind of like give that away, the whole words of affirmation, because whenever he does something, or whenever I do something for him, or cook a meal or whatever, I always am like, so babe, what did you think? Babe,
Yeah,
what did you
oh
like?
my
And
God.
I want him to like give me like, not just, oh, it was good. No, I want you to be like
Yeah, she
detail
want
with
me to
that
be-
tip.
right,
Like that's
right.
the words of affirmation.
Or
for
you'll
me.
you'll go to the point where I'm detailed, and then you'll come back like 20 minutes later, like,
And
babe.
ask
I'm like,
again.
babe, didn't I just tell you how I felt about it? Like you have to listen to what a brother's saying out his mouth.
I totally listen,
but,
y'all.
But
I just
that's
wanna hear it again.
that's her words of affirmation. Even though she heard me and she believes me, she loves to hear it again. And I don't mind telling her, especially if it's something that I know that's going to uplift my wife and make her feel good, because she took the quality time.
Quality
I
time.
plug that in there. She took the quality time to do something for me
Right.
that she truly didn't have to do, because I'm more than capable of fixing things for myself, depending on what
But
it is.
of course, for me, it's,
But,
presentation.
yeah,
of
that's
whatever
just,
it
if
is.
you know my wife, that's who she is.
So, do you remember what your love language is? Your top 2? Because I sure do.
Probably the same. I think the same. Words of affirmation and quality time.
That was mine. Yours were actually words of affirmation, but there was a
Right.
different second one that was your top. Do you remember?
Acts of service?
Heck no.
Was it? Dang. I'm like, where you said that? Heck
Physical
no. Like,
touch.
Like the
Physical touch.
yes.
Babe,
yes,
how in the heck?
Yes.
So
Because my
his-
mind is.
So his were back in the day. His back in the day were words of affirmation and physical touch.
Right.
And I feel like definitely words of affirmation is still up there, still number 1. But I kind of feel like because acts of service for him was like a second, like the third runner up.
Right.
I think maybe you've swapped that over the years. So it's words of affirmation and acts of service for you now, opposed to physical touch being before that. What do you think? Because that is what you just said.
Yeah, probably so.
I think
agree
acts
with
of
you.
service have kind of, climbed up to second
Right.
for you. But we both know each other's love languages, and it really does help because, and I'm glad that we have one that's the same, words of affirmation, but he also loves it when I do those acts of service for him.
I do.
Fixing his little meals, and he loved, like, literally, you guys, I remember one day he used to ask me to make him a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and he actually said, because you make them so much better than me, I don't know what you do with putting the peanut butter and the jelly on there, but them janks be tasting so much better.
It's because everything that you do for me that I never experienced, that I love from you, is I can see the love behind everything you do for me. I can feel the love behind everything you do for me. But also, I love the way you do things for me. You know? That's just genuine, unadulterated, just love. Pure love. And again, it's that's not even so. Yeah, my love languages pretty much have changed, because even though I love the physical touch, now it's not about the physical touch for me. It's a little. I need more than the physical touch, because what I've learned in me doing my deception is physical touch can get you into trouble.
You ain't
in
never
the wrong
lied.
way. So physical touch is definitely not something that is my
that you want to cling on to.
Yeah, not at all, because the physical touch can lead to the wrong things in the wrong way, and also sometimes you put physical touch in front of everything else.
So true.
That's more important than the breakdown of the love,
right,
or the emotions building up for the love. You're so impressed by the physical that's becomes your second nature, because that's all you think about and see. That's the first thing you see when you're in a relationship anyways. You see the physical,
right?
You know, you don't see what's on the inside, you see what's on the outside,
right?
So I wouldn't say that's one of my things. You know, don't get me wrong, I love the physical touch from
I really
and
do
only
think,
you, but
I really do
not,
feel like that it literally did change once going through our trial.
Right.
Acts of service came up and replaced physical touch for you, because you really do, like, he is so appreciative of those things that I do. And what I love is that you say that, because that's fulfilling my words of affirmation box, or not box, but I guess my tank. You know, it's filling that tank of words of affirmation. So,
excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. Whew. Sorry about that, for people out there. Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I think that, you know, being able to know this with each other has really helped us to, on a whole nother level, to build our marriage and build our relationship and have it be one that is, you know, doesn't have all the extra fluff. Like, we just get down to what it is that fills us up and helps us to grow. And I think that's very important. And that is a huge part of loving somebody.
Right.
You know? And another thing that is huge is going back to the definitions of love, is that unconditional, Christ-like agape love.
Right.
I love that part of the definition where it says seeing someone and wanting, like, literally only wanting the best for that person. And that truly, if you look at that person in that way, that actually, if you really break down that, it should change the way you move.
Oh no, it ain't no should. It definitely will change.
But
I
mean, like, because I think I said should, because some people don't take the time to take a pause. And we talked about this last week, of realizing that your choices affect more than you.
That's true. They don't think about that.
They don't think about that. And so they make some choices without thinking about the other person and giving that unconditional Christ-like love, agape love for their partner. You know, they don't think about that.
Or they take that choice and they make that choice quick, meaning that
that's what I'm saying.
They think about it partially, but they don't think about it fully. They don't take the actual deep necessary time to say, bro, let me weigh my pros and cons. You know, it's like, all right, I know the pros and cons. They just give you like the top layer. They don't dive a little bit under to see how deep it can go, because it can go deep.
It can go
and
real
I know
deep.
Because, again,
been there.
Doing what I've done,
right?
I hurt a lot of people, and it affected a lot of people's lives in so many ways, and
that you wouldn't really think about when you first make that first step.
No, you don't.
off the cliff.
You
don't think about, oh, well, this step is affecting not only my wife, but my kids, my, grandchildren, my children's children. You don't,
Right.
you're my family,
Right.
her family, his family. You don't think about that.
none
Your
of that.
friends, because, even in that state, your friends now, let's say that things don't work out and you get divorced. Now your friends got to choose, who did I meet first? Who did I come in the relationship being friends with? Are they going to get mad that I'm still friend? Ain't nobody got time for all that. So it
Right.
affects more than just you. And I think that always holding that unconditional Christ-like love for someone, it also allows you to see them as an individual. And we kind of talked about this on our last podcast, is that, seeing your partner as more than just your spouse, your partner, but seeing them as an individual, as a child of God, that they're going through stuff too.
Right.
So when they bring to you, concerns or things that they're going through in their own personal individual life, you're able to take that wife hat, that husband hat off and be a friend.
Exactly.
We got many hats that we wear in a relationship.
True.
And sometimes we have to take that wife or husband hat off to see them in a different light, because you would give a friend different advice that you would sometimes give your partner.
And that's where it becomes, again, like in relationships, I think that you need to become friends.
Right.
Because that's the only way to truly dive into, if you have a true friendship in the beginning, there's no other attachments there, it's a different level of commitment and
respect.
Mm-hmm. But bringing that into whatever it goes deep, as far as if you two choose to be in love or take it further however you want to in your relationship, that has to be the top layer.
Right.
Because without that friendship, meaning, hey, we have a friendship that we can actually communicate and talk about anything, and understand each other emotions, whether they're high or low, or have just overall dialect, and understand that, hey, if there's something in our conversation that we can agree on, or something that we won't agree on, but at least we can walk away and say agree to disagree, and we be cool.
Right.
That's the way you need to be in your regular relationship.
Correct.
Or any relationship, whether you're in love or not, because that friendship is the top layer to determining everything else, as well as the commitment, the communication. Those are things on the top. That's ultimately what brings you into loving someone.
Right. Like complete love for someone. And I think too, it's like that friendship is your safety net.
It is.
So if you are going through something and your relationship, taking off that wife, husband hat, that partner hat, and stepping down to the friend level, you see things that you wouldn't see when you're seeing through, you're supposed to do, you hurt me, I.
Right.
When you take it down to the friendship level, then you're able to really see, oh, okay.
Yeah, I can put myself in their shoes.
Exactly.
Yo, this is my friend. Why am I hurting them like that? Because I wouldn't want them to hurt me the same way. So, but you gotta, again, you have to be very open-minded. If you're not open-minded and you're just stubborn and pig-headed and just want to do what you want to do, then you're going to get the results that you want to get. Which they're not going to be good results.
Right. Exactly. You have to take it down to, like you said, that friendship, safety net, foundation level. And that right there can save you from doing a lot of things that you ordinarily wouldn't even think about trying to save, because you're literally thinking on that relationship partner status. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, all right, final thoughts. Ooh, so I know for me, and this might actually shock some women, but my final thought on this with regards to everything we've talked about. So first, let's just recap a little bit. Love is an action word. It's also a noun, but in your relationships, you should act. You should act and have it be a verb. Have action. Do the things that make the difference. Talk
about it. Be about it.
Do the things that your partner can see that you love them.
Right.
Okay. All right. Second thing is that unconditional love. Make sure that you have that there, that you see that person as an individual, as a child of God.
Right.
and that you can be there for them and have that friend foundation.
Right. No matter what.
Always a safety net.
And just understand that even if the relationship, if you really truly had friendship in the beginning and it was real friendship before you got involved, it can still be friendship after that. It's just, again, you are an adult. You need to be, it's either you're going to be mature about the situation or immature. And a lot of times in this world that we live in, we hear a lot about the immature part, the drama and all that crap.
Right.
But we want to start hearing about the mature part. Hey, this is what I went through. This is how I came out of it. This is how I walked the walk and then just talk the talk.
Right.
You know, this is how I overcame whatever that situation was.
Right.
And this is what I went about it and
this
how
is
I
what
went
I
about
learned
it.
from
this is
that.
what I learned. And that's basically what we've been doing.
Yeah.
You know, more so me than anything. You know, just because don't get it twisted. My wife has also, you know, had a lesson in all of this.
Totally. Many.
You know, because
many
it's
lessons.
not, again, I'm the man who decided that, hey, I knew in the beginning what my wife went through, and I promised that I wouldn't do those things, but I broke that promise. But then I turned around and realized what I was putting her through, pulled myself out of it with her help and her unconditional love and my unconditional love for her that was always there for her, because if it wasn't there for her, I wouldn't have been able to move forward or pick up the broken pieces. We wouldn't have been able to put things back together. We ultimately had that true friendship.
Right. We really did.
You know, and
you know what? I remember when we were literally on the verge of dating.
Right.
We hadn't even gone on our first date yet.
right.
And we actually said, well, you were saying something like, you know, if you know that you were kind of scared because one, we work together, and that always can be
True.
you know, that sometimes does not end well.
And that's a myth. I know a lot of people say, "Hey, I'm not going to date someone that I work with in the same place," and blah blah blah. But if you do things the right way, the way that we did,
Oh yeah.
and you move the way we move,
totally. Yeah.
it's not a problem, because both of you understand exactly what your commitment is and what it entails and the things that are surrounded by you that can affect it. So you both move a certain way together as one.
Right.
And by you moving together as one, you know, we were able to, no one knew about our relationship.
No, they didn't.
Only a specific number of people that we chose and we knew that we can trust.
Right.
Other than that, no one knew. So
It was
that's why it
always
was
work.
such a big shocker.
Yeah.
It's even a shocker to this day to some people. Like,
Yeah.
what the heck? Like,
Exactly.
Javon and
Michael?
Michael?
Really?
Like, what? Like, that just didn't, you know, when you saw us in the beginning, you would have never put us together.
It's like your friend said, and K Woo, I'm shouting you out, where you said
Okay,
beauty,
woo!
you
What
said
it do, sis?
Beauty and the Streets.
Yes.
That's what it was.
Yes,
Beauty and the Streets.
yes,
Thanks, K Woo, for
yes.
that. That is exactly
I
what it
almost
was.
think about when she said that, and I didn't think about it till now. There was a favorite song that I used to play for me and you, and I don't know if you remember this. It's a song by Jaheim, Beauty and the Beast.
I don't remember that. You have to play that after this.
Was it Beauty and the
podcast.
Beast? I don't
While
know.
you're figuring that, well, finish your
Yeah, I'm
thought,
about
and
to
then I'm
figure
gonna finish
that out
my
real
thought.
quick. Because I want everybody to know this. So let me figure this out real quick. I know. It was
So while
Jaheim.
he's remembering if that's the actual correct name
Oh, no,
of
no,
the
no.
song.
Right. No, the name of the song, but I definitely know that was the artist.
Oh, okay.
Because you know how I am about my music, especially R&B. So
This is true. So before we even dated, like went on our first date, we literally, I remember Javon saying to me, you know, hey, if this don't work out, like I'm done. Like I don't want to be friends after that. That's just the kind of person that I am.
Beauty and Thug, my bad.
Oh,
Beauty and Thug.
okay.
And it was
Okay.
Mary J. Blige on there, who was his you know, they
His
were the two
featured
on the
artist.
song. Yeah. She was the beauty, he was the thug.
Right. But yeah, I love that. Beauty and the Thug.
Track number
Beauty and the
6
Streets.
on,
No, you
know,
didn't.
Jaheim Jump Still Ghetto. You know,
No, you didn't.
I'm gonna take it back.
But anywho, so do you remember you saying that? Do you remember you were like, if this doesn't work out, I'm done because I'm not going. I don't do
Heck
the friend
yeah.
thing after. And
Because I
would-
wasn't about that. Because
Right.
at that moment I didn't realize I was looking for love more than I knew that I was.
Yeah.
But at the same time too, when you met me, I was getting in relationships and dating people who didn't deserve the love that I wanted to give, but also I wasn't also finding the love that I wanted.
Right.
So,
but yeah, he said that, and I had to like literally coerce him into still trying to see where this really was going, because we knew our feelings had shifted.
You think you had to coerce? You really?
I did, because you were like, I don't want to get into this if it's gonna mess. You know, if we
Well,
if it's gonna be breaking up. And so I had to coerce you into saying and promising me that it did not work out.
You did.
That we would still be friends.
And I was like,
no,
I was like, nah, I ain't gonna promise you that, because I was the type of person.
But you finally did promise me.
I was just the type of person that when you met me, because of all of the type of bad relationships that I've had in my life, always felt like people couldn't commit. People always would run. So I couldn't commit to that. I just couldn't commit to that, because people again were, whenever I would open up and be the person that I would be, as far as being very vulnerable. And I do apologize for the noise in the background.
Y'all.
Out here in Arizona, if you don't know, every car is ratchet with the loud sound. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the noise. Now my wife, on the other hand, she don't love it.
Y'all.
But I ride bikes, so that's just what it is.
And it's beautiful out here.
It's beautiful
right now on this beautiful March
But some of these people that come down this little small strip, where we live, they feel like it's a drag strip, and it's not. It's 25 miles per hour, people. I mean, can we have some safety out there? Like, what's up? Not to mention, it's early in the morning. You trying to wake people up who are trying to sleep,
like
who've been working hard.
Like,
but
awake now. But anywho,
these knuckleheads, they're gonna do what they want to do. As one of the knuckleheads coming back through now. So,
final thoughts. Back to our final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
So something that I think women need to learn how to be.
Did I finish what I was saying before I got
I have no idea.
Sidetracked by that daggone vehicle? Know. I probably didn't. And I apologize if I didn't.
Yeah, I don't even know. But we need to be more supportive of our men. Yeah. And I say that because what you just finished saying, you were just saying how your hesitation with us continuing to be friends if something happened is because you had a really big thing with people not committing to love and running away.
Right.
And I think that that's something that men feel a lot in relationships, is that women don't support them when they're not doing or checking all the boxes for the woman.
Right.
Men go through their own stuff, and because men don't communicate those emotions, women have no clue sometimes that their man is going through some stuff.
True. This is true.
And what happens is we're not supporting them in those things that they need from us.
Right.
And a lot of the times, sometimes we don't even know it.
And
but
if
when we do know it,
if you don't know, and I'm gonna say this, if you don't know, ask.
Right.
Like,
when you see them
sit
changing,
your significant other down.
Yeah.
Ask them, look, am I doing enough to support you and give you what you need? If not, please tell me. Engage with them.
Yes.
Because again, both of you guys are one.
Right.
No matter how you see it. Mm-hmm. If you're in a relationship, if you've been in a relationship from start, I don't care if it's a week, 2 weeks, whatever.
Yep.
If it's a week, well, let me say a week. Once you get a little bit more into the relationship, you become one, because in the beginning you're still trying to find each other. You're trying to figure out the quirks and what works and what doesn't work.
Get off that surface level, fakery that you're just trying to get with.
Trying to fill each other out. Mm-hmm. Once you get through all of those walls and all of those curtains or whatever you want to call it,
I love the
you
curtains.
become one.
Right.
So when you become one, then you're able to move forward on the level of whatever you need to do to reach that unconditional love.
And supporting the person that you're with is huge. And a lot of the times, and men, you need to support your wives too. But I just know that for
no, and hold on, no. I'm sorry. I'm just not gonna let that ride. When my wife is saying men, we need to support our wives or our women, our sisters, our mothers, our daughters.
Go on, babe.
It's real. We as men, I don't get it twisted. We have a reputation of we can be good or we can be bad.
Right.
And when we're bad, we're known as dogs, and we have a reputation that we think that, hey, it's okay. You know, it's when a woman does certain things that men's do, it's not right.
Did you just say men's?
Men's. I'm sorry. You know, when a woman do things that a man would do,
Right.
and that are considered bad things,
Right.
she's called all types of names and this and that.
Right.
And, you know,
We
the
know.
B word and the H word and
Right.
stuff. But bruh, you the same?
Ain't it?
Like, if you doing the same thing, what makes it right that she, you know, that because she's doing it the way that you doing it, it makes her one. You the same. Like,
Exactly.
we need to stop being like that.
Yeah.
You know, we need to be different, but we also need to be safe out here.
Yeah.
However we move and
Right.
whatever. And I'm just talking safe as a broad general word, safe overall. Your health, anything you're going through. You know, if you're in a relationship, make sure that you're safe with everything.
Right.
But
It goes both ways.
it definitely
Support
goes both ways. You know,
but I just
men
yeah.
as a whole, we really need to support our women, because what we do, you know, and you can speak on the side, and I'll do it like this. You can talk about what I'm gonna talk about what men need to do. You can talk about what women need to do. I feel that men as a whole, we continuously, day in and day out, from day one, we get that emotional support from a woman. We
True.
get that vulnerability.
Yes.
We get that communication. We get that trust. We get that honesty. We get that loyalty. Unless you got a player, and you're not gonna know until you
Right.
figure them out.
Right. Exactly.
But that being said, we need to dive deep into those things that I stated, because that ultimately is going to help us identify the person that we're choosing to be with, but also understand them and being able to break it down, their ticks and what makes them work, what makes them mad, what makes them happy, but doing it in a carefree way that it doesn't require you to throw money at them, because throwing money at somebody and buying gifts, that don't make somebody love you.
Anybody can buy gifts.
It don't. Some
Yeah.
people, unless their mentality is all about gifts. Now, if their mentality is all about gifts and that's just who they are, I'm just saying, I don't know if that's the type of person I want
Yeah.
to be with, because that's all they see.
Right.
You know? And I'm not saying that there are not people out there who love receiving gifts, and they're you know,
There's more to
there's
it than
more
that.
to that
I mean,
than that. Yeah. You know, they actually do have a lot of love. But man, we really need to take the time to sit down and talk to our significant others, see how they're feeling, ask them little things like, hey, how's your day going? Or like me, this is another thing I used to do. Babe, I used to always like send you text messages about how I'm feeling throughout the day, just thinking about you, telling you, hey, babe, I appreciate you today.
Yes.
I love you. I know, you might be going through, but we're going to get through this together.
Yep.
And those are things that I've also come back to
Yes,
doing,
definitely.
like, i.e., yesterday, I just,
Not breaking out the text thread.
oh, yeah. Like yesterday, I, out of nowhere, I just let my wife know how I felt about her, and out of the blue, I just sent a text message to her, and I was like, babe, I love you and all that you are as a best friend, wife, mother, and you just being you and always believing in me and in us. And I sent that yesterday just out of the blue.
And I was like, what was that for?
And my
Yep.
wife was like, what? Oh, babe, like, and then of course, if you know my wife, she gonna question like, where did that come from? Like, what's up? But when she questions me, the one thing I know is she know that I know that you're not questioning me because I did something wrong.
No.
Like what you up to or what you want. No,
No.
it's not that. She's questioning me like, babe, like, tell me where that came from. Why are you
Words
feeling
of
that way?
affirmation.
Like,
I want to hear. What did I do?
So,
what did I
right,
say?
what did I do?
Something?
That,
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything. It's just that my love for my wife is deeper and wholesome to a whole nother level more than what it was before. Is that I'm able to do that because I want her to know that I'm thinking about you day in and day out. I may not be able to talk to you because I'm at work, because I'm so busy, and sometimes I can't call her because I'm so busy at work. But at the end of the day, all it took was a second. That's it. That's it. It's the small things. Like, men, I'm gonna be real. I know we know sometimes we know how to be extravaganza and go big for women. It's the small things,
Yes,
bro.
Lord.
I'm gonna be real. It's the attention to detail on the small things. And
Yes,
if you
Lord.
really think that it don't matter to that woman, there is no woman out here on this earth that would ever tell you that small thing that she received from you doesn't matter, because there's a lot of thought a lot of times. You actually have to think sometimes about those small things.
Yep.
I'll give you one example that I can go into. In the beginning of our marriage, I created a basket for my wife. There wasn't no special basket or anything. Well, it was
It
a
was for
special
Valentine's
basket. It was
Day.
for Valentine's Day. But what I did, what she didn't know, I gathered up all of her favorite things that she liked.
Now, let me preface real quick. This
Right.
was like early in our relationship. So he had to actually ask me that. And so what he did was we were working together, like we said, and he came with a little Post-it note and had it on my desk, which I thought was so freaking cute. Like, I'm smiling right now remembering this. But he put it on my desk and it said, "What are your favorite things?" And he had like it numbered, right?
Right.
And so he had like, favorite movie, like, and then I was supposed to put what it was, favorite this, favorite that. He had like 5 or 6 things. And I'm like, what in the heck? So
Right.
I just thought he wanted it because we were newly, seeing each other. And he just wanted to get to know me a little bit better. And I think I even wrote one back for him to
Right.
get the same information. Little did I know he was preparing this basket.
Yeah.
Keep it. Okay, now
Yeah.
I'm handing the baton to you. Go ahead and finish.
So, but what I was doing was just gathering up, this is what I talk about, man, the small things, because it wasn't a lot of thought. Well, actually, no, it was a lot of thought. Let me rephrase that. I apologize. It was a lot of thought. It was because I really wanted to make her happy in a different way versus just the norm of getting any type of regular Valentine's gifts like, candy and flowers or
Teddy bear or whatever,
some
yeah.
lingerie, or like, if you old school, like, how I grew up, I was always in, Vicky Secrets, short for
Right.
Victoria's Secrets, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not even about that. At that
Right.
moment, it was about, I found all the little things, like her favorite candy, her favorite movie, her favorite song, CD, artist.
CDs were in still back
Right,
then.
yeah. See, there was other things in the
Color.
basket. Her favorite color.
So he got all these things that were my favorite color, which is pink.
Well, you know what? Actually, maybe you should describe how the basket, because it's more memorable. It's memorable for me, but you receiving it can enlighten everyone.
Well, he just got all of my favorite little items, and he had it done in a beautiful basket. And what I love about my husband, especially back then when he would do stuff like this, is he would engage like our female friends to be like, "Hey, I want to do this for her. Can you help me? This is my
That's
idea.
true. That's
this
true.
is my idea, and
That's
can
true.
you help me put this together?" Because women have a special finesse,
Right.
of
Right.
putting things together, and that's exactly what he did. So he had our friend. He went to her to put the basket together, and he just gave her all of the stuff that I loved. And so when he presented this basket to me, you
Yeah.
guys, it was the sweetest freaking thing. I mean, he had my favorite candy in there, hot tamales. I mean, like, it's just stuff that is people wouldn't know. He
and-
had my favorite movies,
Right,
Mommy Dearest. I had, what was it, the 5 brothers or what, the brothers or whatever.
Yep.
It
The four
was
brothers.
4. I thought it was 5. It weren't 5 of them.
No, it was the four brothers. We're talking about Tyrese,
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg, Andre 3000.
Right.
And
Oh,
that
and the other guy.
kid.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So,
Right. My bad.
boom,
My
boom,
bad.
boom. Sorry, homeboy. I don't know your
Hey,
name,
it was a
but
long
that's
time
what
ago.
it is.
But anywho, he made this like seafood lasagna situation.
heck
He didn't make it, but he had someone
yeah.
make that. We
Yeah,
had
it was dessert and
Yes,
food.
I was gonna-
yeah, the cake too.
right.
Yeah.
I was about to say,
Yep.
and he made this.
Well,
Well, not he made. He
I
had a
didn't make,
chocolate
but-
cake
right.
made for
Right.
me.
Right.
And so all of this stuff, and it was
Right.
just like I had never had
Right.
that happen to me in life. Not even kidding. And that was a great Valentine's Day because he took time to find out the little things about me. And like I said, it was early in our relationship.
Right.
So the fact that he did that just warmed my heart. Just the mere fact
And I'm
he
still
wanted
that
to
same
know.
guy to this day. Don't
Totally.
get it twisted.
But now
just 10
he's taking
times
it up a
even.
notch
Yeah.
because men, I'm going to tell you something,
Right.
and he knows this too.
Right.
Another thing that you can get your wives and the mothers of your children is just you.
Right.
Meaning you helping out around the house.
Right.
It is freaking sexy as I don't know what to see your husband just out of the blue see something that needs to get done in the home and he not expect you to do it, but he gets his hand pots up and he does it himself. It is sexy as F.
Without
to
saying,
have
babe, you need
him-
me to do this? Or,
to have him, washing the dishes or cleaning the stove or wiping down the countertop. All of those things are amazingly appreciative from a woman and a mother who has 50 million things going on in her mind. For them to take the time out to be like, ooh, you know what?
And I'm gonna
Let
say
me do
this, like guys, like I know we have a hard life and we're supposed to be tough as men and we're not supposed to be vulnerable to our emotions.
And when he says hard life, he means like hard. Like
Yeah,
being a hard,
you're supposed to be hardcore tough.
Right,
In other words,
exactly,
tough.
right.
But I think a lot of times too, we don't stop and really appreciate and really understand what a woman goes through.
Yeah.
Like, to me, and this is my opinion, and you can agree to disagree, to each his own. Not gonna bother me one way or the other. That's just
Right.
me. But I think women are so beautiful in so many ways. And I am not even talking about what you see on the
Right,
outside.
the exterior.
The
right.
exterior. If you know me like my wife know me, and I've always said this to a lot of people, yeah, it's always a plus if a person looks good on the outside. But what I love is what's on the inside. Who you truly are, how your mind works, what makes you, tick. So that's to me is the most important thing, because I feel like in every woman deep down inside, there's beauty to be brought out of her. You just have to figure out how to bring it out her so it can be very bright and bold, and you can feel that.
Yeah, she can
that
feel
aura.
herself.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And a lot of men, we don't do that because if you think about it, a lot of women out here do way more than we do as men. This
Well,
we talking
you
about
said it.
we talking about a woman giving birth. Like,
Yep.
there are no men out here that I know of to
Right.
give birth. To me,
Right.
that's top notch.
Right.
That's a hard life to a whole nother level. And it's not to discredit it that men don't have it tough too. We just have it in our own way. But what I'm saying to you is that women need to be supported. There need to be more strong men. I don't care what your color is. You need to support your women. You all have sisters, mothers, best
Daughters.
friends, daughters. Support them.
Yeah.
Be vulnerable to them. Talk to them. Ask them what makes them tick. Even if you having a rough day and things been bad now, hey, sit down and talk to each other. Look, let's have a conversation. What's going on today? How's your day been? What do you need from me? And as you're going along in your relationship, always take the time to really listen, not hear, because anybody can hear anything.
Right.
But are you truly listening?
Yeah.
Because we can hear something. Just like it could be 2-3 people in the room. You can hear everybody,
but you don't.
but
right.
you're not listening to everyone.
Right. Right.
So take the time to listen to your significant other, male or female, and sit down and have a day with them and figure out, hey, look, not even figuring out, hey, how are you doing? What do you need? Are you okay? How did your day go? I love you.
Yep.
I'm thinking of you. I miss you. It's all of the small detailed things that really matter. I don't care if you're a man or a woman.
Right.
Because even though sometimes we don't come out and say it, sometimes we just want to hear it. We want
Yes.
to know that you're thinking
Yes.
about us. We want to know that you feel us. You don't have to do nothing big.
That's so true.
Nothing at all.
And on that same note, and this is our final thought.
Right.
You already have stated it, but vulnerability in your relationship on both ends. Women, I think, do it innately. Like, we will always usually tell you how we're feeling. You always gonna hear from us. That's why
Right.
men are like, I don't want to hear your mouth. Well,
Right.
really what he means is I don't want to hear you complain, or I don't want to hear what you have to say. I don't want, because we're always saying and we're always doing that. But I think vulnerability.
And we get caught up in the fact that you're repeating yourself, but it's not you're repeating yourself. You're trying to tell us something.
Right, bruh.
But if we stop and listen,
exactly.
we will understand.
Exactly.
We're hearing you, so that's
Right.
why it sounds like, oh, man, you in my ear with the same crap
Right,
again.
right.
No,
Exactly.
bruh. She trying to tell you something.
Ain't it?
And him. He trying to tell you something.
Correct.
You need to slow down and listen.
Right, and be vulnerable in your
Sensitive.
relationships, sensitive to each other. Help, allow the other person to really know what you're feeling, know your emotions.
Right.
And there also in that comes what I was saying before of that support, and then give support to your significant other for whatever it is that they might be going through in your relationship, or something that has nothing to do with your relationship. It could be work related or your friend related or whatever. Just things going on in the world might be affecting somebody. Being vulnerable and giving support. Again, those are all friend type qualities, because we are that's the person that you talk to about everything is your friend. Have your friend be your significant other, your spouse.
And the last thing I'll say is it just takes putting one step forward. That's all it takes.
One foot in front of the other, y'all.
Yeah, just you got it one day at a time. Nobody's asking you to resolve everything in one day.
Right.
Work on something small and build from that. Set goals to work on things to make your relationship better. But it takes two people to make it work. I cannot express that enough.
Two
people have to want this, because if it's not both of you wanting it for each other and it comes from an unconditional place, it's not going to work.
And
it's
working
not gonna
together,
work.
putting in 100%, each of you.
Right.
I used to always hear, you have to give 50-50. Hell no. That means if each of you are giving
you gotta get more than
50%, you're only giving half of what you could be giving. You need to be giving 100%
all day,
each of
every
you
day.
to the relationship.
Yep.
And that right there is what makes a wonderful foundation, is the love and the respect, all the types of love, the verb, the unconditional.
You have to build that foundation in order for any relationship to work.
Yeah.
That's the foundation is the start of everything. That top layer.
Yep.
Because you can't dive in.
Actually,
under
the bottom
layers.
layer, because the foundation's the first thing you put down in a relationship.
Yeah.
Or in a house, if we're thinking about a foundation in the house. And if that foundation, when you're building that house, is not firm, is not solid.
Basically building from the ground up.
That house ain't going to stand.
This is true.
So love in every form of it. Go out there and get that book. Figure out what your love language is. Let your do it together. Sit down together and take the quiz together and talk about those things.
Do things. Pick up that book and
read it together.
Read, and you ain't even got to get the book. Just even you can do research.
Quiz, you can find the quiz you can Google it.
Find out what your love language is, because trust me, once you know your love language and you can understand it, especially or you can understand your significant other's love language, it helps you dive into making your relationship better. Again,
yes. Most definitely.
It takes two people to make it work.
We're gonna say
I
that
cannot
in every
stress
podcast,
that enough.
y'all. Takes
no
two.
Relationship is going to work if one person is doing all the work and stressing the fact that they want to make it better, and the other person is not
doing that.
If you ain't showing some signs that you want to make it work, I'm gonna just be flat out straight up with you guys, and to each his own, depending on how much you can take or not take. At that moment, if you can't get what you want together as a whole, then maybe y'all just need to go your separate ways. And there's nothing wrong with that, and you don't have to do it on a bad note. Just agree to disagree and be okay and walk away. That's fine. Even if you have kids, come to a point where you can communicate. And remember, your kids are in the middle of this. Do not put them through the crap that you may have been through, or things that you have seen or experienced. Don't allow them to see that stuff. And in life, sometimes they do see that, and it happens. But make sure you take the time to sit down and talk to them so they can understand. But also for them to not feel like they're the problem.
Right.
Because that's what's ultimately going to happen to these kids. They're going to think they did something or what happened and this and that. And sometimes they just don't understand. But they don't need to grow up seeing that, because that trait, along what they're seeing, is what they're going to grow up to actually end up doing themselves.
Which starts a whole
Right.
nother thing, which is a whole nother
Right,
podcast.
right.
But those wounds are set
Right,
in. They
right.
take that into their relationships, and that's how those generational curses, quote unquote, start and continue to go through each generation. So they're carried through each generation.
So men, be sensitive. Sit your women down or significant other and see how they're doing. Matter of fact, words of affirmation. Let that be the biggest thing that you do starting off. Words of affirmation, start from there, and then you can build up.
Yeah. So we hope that you guys have enjoyed this podcast, the breakdown of what love is.
Right.
And from the branch's point of view, again.
Yeah, it's only our opinion.
It's our opinion,
We're
what
not
we've been
acting like
through, but we
clinical
hope that-
psychologists or anything.
Exactly. But we hope that this has given you some more enlightenment
Right.
of what love is from our point of view.
Right.
With that being said, remember when you show up in faith, y'all, God will show out.
That's right.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah. Till then, peace out.
Our love, it gleams like diamonds. They see us shining. Hashtag couple goals. Catch us on the gram. We hopping islands. Don't care what the rest say. They don't know how you loving me. They don't know how I love so deep. Thinking with this energy. Thinking with this chemistry.
All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us and allowing us to share our thoughts with you. We hope you enjoyed this episode and found value in the topic. So you can take some nuggets of wisdom with you into your own life and show up a little more and allow God the opportunity to show out for you.
Yes. And if you liked what you heard, please click that subscribe button so you'll
Please
be
do.
notified of future episodes. And we invite you to leave a review if our podcast resonated with you. Let us know that you too are ready to show up in your life. Thanks. And until next time, we out.
Peace out.